In 1845, Brother Francis McMullen set out to create the first ever Lasallian education school in the United States. Being guided by the Holy Spirit, McMullen created a school that at the time seeming small would continue to grow and become the oldest Christian Brothers school in the United States. Starting from the beginning, 175 years seemed impossible. But as students kept coming, teachers kept teaching, the school kept growing. On September 15, 1845, McMullen and the newly vowed Christian Brothers celebrate their first Mass with 100 students for what would become Calvert Hall College High School on Saratoga Street in Baltimore, Maryland. McMullen and the brothers would never have imagined that in 175 years, the school would be inviting over 250 students in each year, creating a student body of over 1,100 students with 150 faculty members and staff to start their high school journey in a Christian Brothers school. The key to the success of Calvert Hall was the faith-driven mission that St. John Baptist de La Salle had set into place hundreds of years before. La Salle wanted to encourage teachers to teach and care for young people. Through the holy presence of God, he found his way of encouraging others to create caring relationships.
Calvert Hall's legacy and tradition of excellence have stood strong for over 175 years. Welcome to our Gala celebration. My name is Joshua Fisher, a member of the class of 2021 and a student body president. For over 30 years, my family has been a part of the Calvert Hall community. My father, Stan, is a member of the class of 1993, and my brother, Seth, is a freshman, class of 2024. Having the opportunity to extend the Fisher family legacy at the Hall and personally contribute to the Hall's tradition of excellence is truly an honor. In 1685, guided by the Holy Spirit, St. John Baptist de La Salle created a learning environment for students to be comfortable being themselves and to grow. Providentially, 160 years later, Calvert Hall would become the very first Christian Brothers school in the United States. Since 1845, Calvert Hall has served a diverse community, positively impacting lives of over 25,000 students. My fellow students and I come from more than 105 zip codes to be taught by an outstanding faculty dedicated to the vocation of teaching. With their help, we strive to become men of intellect, men of faith, and men of integrity. Tonight, we welcome you to this celebration of all that is Calvert Hall.
Greetings all. Welcome to Gala 175. Tonight will be a night of celebration of 175, now 176 years of excellence in education, an opportunity to honor our Hall of Fame inductees and to recognize our President's Medal awardee. I hope you all are enjoying your Gala packages, your table set, your tea light is ablaze in your Cardinal centerpiece, your champagne and 175 beer chilled, and your meal in the oven. Thanks to all those who have shared the Gala package on their Facebook and social media accounts. One regular comment trending back to us on the packages is, if you wanted the signature log cabin candy to be part of the Gala experience, you should have put Gorilla Tape on the box. I'm glad to report we purchased the molds. We can reorder. By Easter, you can have more candy. Give us a call. A big shout out to our sponsors, particularly our presenting sponsors, Brooks Financial, Century Engineering, Keelty Homes, Kelly Benefits, and Whiting Turner. Please take a moment tonight to check out Baltimore's absolute best sponsor board in your program. Sit back and enjoy Gala 175 starting just a fashionably late time period, a mere 366 days. Please welcome to the stage next, Brother John Kane, President of Calvert Hall.
Good evening. Thank you, Joe Baker, for that welcome, and I too am happy to welcome you to Gala 175. A little bit later than we planned, but we are expecting a wonderful night. It is a great time to celebrate Calvert Hall, even in some of these more difficult times, one would say. A little over 176 years ago, the Archbishop of Baltimore, Archbishop Eccleston, had a vision to create a boys' school in the city of Baltimore. He heard about the great work of the De La Salle Christian Brothers in France, but also now in Ontario and Canada, in Quebec. He asked for brothers, there were none, to be sent. And so they said, send us, Archbishop, some young men and we'll train them. And a young man took the courageous step, Francis McMullen, to go to Canada along with several others and then return and to begin Calvert Hall. For the next 175 years, we've had an amazing history, and so many other Christian brothers have come through here, and families and supporters and teachers. And certainly in our last 50 and 60 years, a group of wonderful, dedicated, and passionate lay teachers. If you're interested in the history, simply look at the book that Bill Tamalonis, graduate, wrote, Vitae Via Virtuis, The History of Calvert Hall. In that, he had asked me to write an ending to that, and I looked at it, and what I talked about was this. The Calvert Hall of 2021 is not the same Calvert Hall as 1845, or 1945, or 1995, or it's not actually the same Calvert Hall as 2015. We have adopted and changed. We are in our third location, having moved out here from down by the Basilica in 1960. Pedagogies have changed. We have technology that we haven't seen. Our facilities have developed and changed and adapted. That's why, if you were here in 2015, it is not the same. This has all been possible through the commitment of so many teachers and staff. And I think if you want to look closely, our response this year, being a leader, I think, in the Baltimore region in reopening our school in the fall and continuing to do so even now as we move to the spring. We have been, because of that dedication of faculty and staff, we are a leader in the region. As I write that, and I tell reunions the same thing, we are not the same school, but we are the same school. I promise you that. The values of faith, community, service, brotherhood, and a commitment to the LaSallian mission has always been and will always be the focus of Calvert Hall. We have been committed from the beginning to give opportunity to a widely diverse group of young men, and we continue to pledge to do that now. We are grateful for the people that have supported us to get to this place tonight, and Joe already mentioned our sponsors. But I certainly also want to thank those men that we will induct into our Hall of Fame tonight. There are many wonderful Calvert Hall graduates in the Hall of Fame, and many thousand probably deserving out there. But tonight we recognize Jack Murtaugh, an educator, posthumously. But others, Jack Knoppinger, Dan White, Ken Ball, Francis Smythe. I apologize. Business leaders in the Baltimore region and beyond, who are great examples of Calvert Hall's graduates and commitment to doing good. We also award our President's Medal to a non-Calvert Hall graduate who's made significant contributions to Calvert Hall, and Joe Croteau will be recognized later for that. I also recognize that out in our audience we have many previous inductees, and I want to recognize them. But also it is important to thank those people that made these 175 years possible, and tonight. Our Board of Trustees now and in previous years who have demonstrated a commitment to Calvert Hall and its future that is, I think, unmatched. Our lay colleagues in the classroom and on our staff who believe strongly in the LaSallian mission and are committed along with the brothers to this great institution. And to the Christian brothers, thousands have walked through these halls since 1845, and we continue to have a presence here, and we are grateful to those who have served and done so much for us. We do celebrate the history, our 175-year history, but really, that's not why we're here. We are here to begin celebrating the next 175 years. This is not about the past, although we celebrate the past. The past informs us and allows us to move forward. We have a strong enrollment. Our board is committed. Our financial situation is good. And we are committed to those values that we spoke about earlier in these next 175 years. That diverse population of students that are here now and those that will be wanting to come through our doors in the future are all going to be able to do so because of the support of so many of you. I'd like to tell you, you're done. You'll hear a bit later, you're not. We still need you. But that's what Calvert Hall has been and will continue to be. So tonight is a time to celebrate this great tradition, this wonderful history, this commitment to mission, but also the commitment to who we will be as we go forward. And that will be Calvert Hall. We will continue to be Calvert Hall proud. And thank you again for being here. I'd like to introduce, at the original gala schedule, Archbishop Lurie was kind enough to be coming. He was going to attend the gala. And I had asked him, would you please do an opening prayer? And he said he would be happy to. He's a bit busy, as many of us are, but he was also gracious enough to say, I'd be happy to do a video. And so he's going to join us as well virtually. Part of what Calvert Hall is and has been and will continue to be is part of the church in the Baltimore region. And we continue to be connected to that church as an independent school. And I am grateful to the Archdiocese of Baltimore, and in particular to Archbishop Lurie, for his tremendous support of Calvert Hall and really his personal friendship of me and his actual, he did say, and I'm going to say it now, best high school visit he ever had was to Calvert Hall 2 years ago. But again, so thank you for being here. And now we will listen to Archbishop Lurie, and he will also then lead us in the opening prayer. Thank you.
My dear friends, it is my distinct pleasure to greet you at the beginnings of this virtual gala marking the 175th anniversary of Calvert Hall College. Even though due to the pandemic, this gala is a year delayed and has to be conducted virtually, I know that this evening will be a time of celebration and joy and grace. For the past 176 years, Calvert Hall has provided a Catholic college preparatory education in the Lasallian tradition. Calvert Hall is a school where academic ability thrives, where young men learn how to be involved in their community, and where a brotherhood is fostered that will last a lifetime. We in the Archdiocese of Baltimore are proud to have among us the oldest Christian Brothers School in the country, and we celebrate your rich history and traditions. Congratulations on this milestone anniversary. Now, I am happy to begin this evening with prayer, and so let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for all the many blessings you bestow upon us. Most especially this evening, we thank you for this food and drink we are about to enjoy and for this opportunity to come together to celebrate 176 years of Calvert Hall College in the Archdiocese of Baltimore. We ask your blessing upon the students, faculty, staff, and alumni who make up the Calvert Hall family. Bless these parents who make it possible for their sons to attend Calvert Hall, and bless all of the academic, social, spiritual programs and activities that are realized in this school and outside of its classrooms. May Calvert Hall College be a place of learning and formation for many more years to come. Grant this through Christ our Lord. Amen. St. John Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. Amen.
All right, folks, thanks so much, Archbishop Lurie, for joining us this evening. We appreciate the support you always give the Hall. Now, Brother John and Dr. Smythe are sitting here right here, not sure who's supposed to go first to start eating, so I just want to say for everybody around the world, dinner's served. All right, go ahead and start eating. Calvert Hall is very lucky to have very, very talented students, academically, athletically, extracurricularly, service-wise. You know the great kids that we have. And tonight we're going to be able to showcase a group of guys from our art department. And that art department, amazing. 50 years under the leadership of Victor, the legendary Victor Janishevsky. I like to call him the Dalai Lama of art. And now very capably led by Jim Doyle. 4 of our guys are here tonight: Sebastian, Manuel, Andrew, and Stephen. And they're going to be doing some art projects for us as we go on. They're under pressure, under the pressure of the live lights and all that, but they're working on some art projects for us. Guys, turn around and show what you've got so far. Like, lift up your papers, turn them around, and you'll get a little feel what they're starting on. Sebastian, just spin. You can spin that whole podium, right? Yeah. There you go. All right, and we'll keep coming back through the evening. I'm going to go over and talk for a minute to Sebastian Morales. Sebastian, class of 23, correct? Yes, sir. And you're doing an oil painting? Of course, yes. All right, Sebastian, step out a little bit here. How hard is the work in oil, Sebastian?
You know, at first it was a little hard, but, you know, I mean, I kind of watch a little bit of tutorials on Bob Ross. You know, I love Bob Ross.
There you go.
You know, I got a knack for this sort of stuff, so I say, you know what, let's just do it.
Talk about the board and about mixing colors. Like, how do you get the colors right?
Oh, well, you know, it's just all about, you know, learning your color table and, you know, your values, and, you know, it's all about, you know, learning techniques and, you know, the crisscross shapes, blending, and making what, you know, seems natural, you know, seem natural. That's the point of art. You want to express how you feel. You want to express what's inside. It's not just, you know, think of something. It's supposed to come from the heart.
And what kind of piece are you doing for us tonight?
I'm doing just a nature scene, you know, out of the top of my head, you know, something that's probably never been seen before. So, you know, you can call it an undiscovered, you know, landmark.
Undiscovered art. All right. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Thank you. All right, the guys, we're going to follow them all night long, and we'll see the progress they make, and we'll meet each one of them. So now, next, it's my honor to bring to the stage Dr. Tom Smythe, Calvert Hall class of 77, CEO and President, University of Maryland, St. Joseph Medical Center, Chairman of the Board, Calvert Hall Board of Trustees. Dr. Smythe.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I extend my warm welcome to all of you and our heartfelt congratulations to the Hall of Fame inductees and the President's Medal recipient. For the past 11 years, I've had the honor of serving on the Board of Trustees, the last 5 years as board chair. As I was asked to speak tonight, I found it at first very easy and then very hard to put into words about what I feel and how I feel about Calvert Hall College High School, and what I have borne witness to over these past 11 years as a trustee of our own dear Calvert Hall. As I tried to find the right words, I came to an appreciation that each of us sees Calvert Hall through a slightly different lens: alumnus, student, parent, faculty member, brother, sister, wife, grandparent, friend. I will try my best to reflect your thoughts and feelings as I try to convey my own. Let's appreciate for a moment the strengths of Calvert Hall, its humble sensibilities. That humility, combined with hard work and action-oriented integrity, driven by a faculty that has an expectation of excellence. Their appreciation, our appreciation, that excellence for each of the 1,100 students who walk these halls every day is uniquely defined, because each student is made in the image of God with unique characteristics, and they walk these halls each day with different desires and different stresses. And so, the work of our faculty is likely more difficult than it might be in a school half our size. And yet our faculty, along with the students and their parents, embrace the challenge of formation with gusto, and together they mold young men of intellect, faith, and integrity, while simultaneously exploring and revealing the unique talents of each young man. What I have witnessed these past 11 years is that although everything in our lives has changed, especially in this past year, nothing has changed in the past 175 years as it relates to the Lasallian education and character formation of another generation of young men, Hall men. Let's also pause to appreciate that all of this effort is underpinned by a foundation in faith and of faith, through the charism of the Christian brothers, a charism that instills a strong sense of integrity, duty, service, and love of God. All of this is what we would call Calvert Hall culture, our brotherhood. Building men to serve their communities, to first and foremost provide much-needed leadership across the United States and around the world. We talk with a quiet and unmistakable pride of our artists, our musicians, our athletes, our budding journalists, businessmen, and entrepreneurs, our debate stars, robotics champions, and our scholars, to name just a few. Calvert Hall is where young men get their first real taste of what it's like to excel, how it feels to win and lose, succeed and fail. It is this culture, this brotherhood, that brings us back tonight, that lifts us up in a genuine celebration of 6 individuals whose life work exemplifies the success of the thousands of Hall men that went before them, that walked with them, and that will follow them. Celebrations like this deepen my personal responsibility to steward this culture. This Calvert Hall culture is ours to steward, ours to preserve. Tonight, I, along with my tri-chairs of the campaign, Jeff Nattens and Frank Bramble, are asking all of you to do everything in your power to support Hall 175, a campaign for Calvert Hall College. This campaign is about endowment. Endowment will allow Calvert Hall to provide support for Hall men of the future, affording them the opportunity to embrace the Calvert Hall culture regardless of their means. Why shouldn't any young man be able to experience what we were all blessed to experience? Our campaign goal is $28 million, 5 leadership gifts, each exceeding $500,000, have provided a firm foundation for the campaign. Campaign momentum has continued to grow with the establishment of 25 new endowed scholarships. To make this happen, 24 individuals, families, and foundations have committed each at least $100,000 to the campaign. Many of these donors are here with us tonight. Thank you for your incredible support. We're making a special effort this year to encourage alumni, family members, and friends to include Calvert Hall in their financial and estate plans. The early results are very encouraging. 20 new members have been recognized for their legacy commitments in the 1854 Society. If you're thinking about what you can do during the campaign, this is one fabulous way to contribute. We're past the 40% mark toward our goal of $28 million, and it seems every day that we hear from new donors. It's an exciting time at Calvert Hall. Thank you again for your support, and more importantly, for your love for Calvert Hall. Given what I have witnessed up close and personally over these past 11 years, I can guarantee you that your support will open a door to a worthy young man and make an indelible difference, one young man at a time. Congratulations again to our Hall of Fame inductees and President's Medal recipient, Ken, Jack, Francis, Dan, and Joe. You have made and will continue to make a powerful difference as leaders in your communities. St. John the Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever.
The Calvert Hall Alumni Hall of Fame includes doctors, judges, entrepreneurs, clergy, military leaders, educators, coaches, philanthropists, scientists, and many, many more. Each with a unique story, but to a man, each represents Calvert Hall, their classmates, and their fellow alumni with distinction. Hall of Fame members have distinguished themselves in one or more of the following areas: service to the community, meritorious professional achievement, contribution of time, talent, or treasure to Calvert Hall. At Gala 175, we proudly induct 5 new members into the Alumni Hall of Fame. Our first inductee, Jack Murtaugh, class of 1961. We induct Jack posthumously as Jack passed away in 2017. We honor Jack's memory tonight. Let's roll the video.
You know, Jack made a lifetime contribution to Calvert Hall. And he came in '65. He taught Spanish, taught a little German, eventually moved into guidance, became guidance chair, and was chair of the guidance department for about 25 years. His mark on Calvert Hall is quite large.
When I think of Jack, I think of him as probably an old phrase, but Jack was a master teacher. And really attention to detail, preparation, unbelievable.
A true professional. I mean, he was meticulous with every detail, well prepared in everything that he did, and yet he was very approachable, easygoing guy, I think liked by everybody.
Was always a happy guy, right? Smile on his face, enthusiasm. I think one of the special things about Calvert Hall is that the spirit in the building, amongst the teachers, amongst the students, it's not just what happens in the classroom, what happens in the hallways, the interactions. And he was just one of those guys that was interacting with kids and teachers on a regular basis, and it was always a positive interaction. And Jack was a family man. He was devoted to his wife, Marlene, Sean, his son, class of '88. Of course, we can never forget his beloved cats. As a student, when I was in his class, he called me Pepe Panadero, Joey Baker. And for the next 30 years we worked together or whatever, he would always call me Pepe Panadero. So I greatly appreciate that name. I think it's a password on a couple of my accounts.
When Brother Rene started the Hall of Fame, he wanted the students at the school to see all the various professions that the alums were excelling in. And if I'm correct, the Hall of Fame has a few college professors in it. But I think Jack will be the first from the teaching profession from high school to be in. And, you know, he graduated from Calvert Hall, came back to his alma mater to teach, did it extremely well, both in the classroom and in guidance. So I think it's a well-deserved honor to an outstanding educator in person.
All right, we're back in the Art Center, checking on the guys' progress. Guys, how about holding up your work and just give the folks a little look at what you got going so far? We'll get a little zoom in. We got this wild jib camera flying around out here. It's not quite NFL quality, but it's right close to it, right? All right, I'm going to go over here and talk to Manuel Romero. Manuel, you're a sophomore?
Yes. Yeah, I'm a sophomore.
All right, Manuel, tell us what you're working on tonight.
I'm doing kind of an homage to some classic like 60s and early 70s kind of comic covers that you'd get at like a local shop weekly, and I'm kind of like merging that into what you'd kind of see now, kind of like with the old kind of style versus the new kind of style, and merge them into like one thing.
When you say 60s and 70s, a lot of our guests, that's right in their wheelhouse, so they appreciate that. Now, Manuel, tell us a little about when did you know you were an artist?
I'd say about probably when I was in like second grade or such, maybe. And I just like.
And what made you think about art? You just started tracing, or what did you do?
It was actually like something like we do. Like I was very studious when I was young, and I still am a bit now. And one of like a task we were given to do when we finished work was to kind of draw. And so after like I started a bit, I started to take it up a little bit, starting to improve over the years. And well, here I am now.
Now, a piece like this, when you're working regular pace, how long would it take a piece like this for you to do? Hours, days?
Sometimes it'd be hours. Sometimes I do days. Like if I was either busy or just was really tired, I just kind of pace myself and not overwork myself a little bit.
Sure. Thanks, Manuel. Thanks, guys. That's good stuff. They're continuing to work. Remember, this is an interactive gala. You've gotten some messages from us. It's got the QR code. That's the Dotty thing that you can scan that with your phone, and it'll take you to a place where you can upload a picture, get a picture with a Calvert Hall 175 watermark. You can download it. You can share it to our gallery. That's kind of neat. And the other thing we're having some trivia contests. Just like, remember when people used to go to about Oriole, Camden Yards, the Orioles? I mean, that's before the pandemic. Remember, I mean, that's like 30, 40 years ago when people used to go to Camden Yards, right? They used to run those trivia. So we're going to run a couple trivia questions, right? And you'll be able to participate. So I think and if you'll send your entries in either to the share button or send your entries into communications@calverthall.com, and we have a great prize for the winners. Bill Tamilonis' text, Vitae Va Virtus, The History of Calvert Hall, complete. A tumbler, 175 tumbler, and the 175 Christmas bulb. It's great stuff, and we've got that for you. I think we're going to run the first trivia right now.
Whenever we kiss, I worry and wonder. You must break the spell, this cloud that I'm under. So please, won't you tell, darling, where is your heart?
All right, folks, people will be fast on their fingers getting those emails in. So if you got a suggestion, the answer is not 2008, right? But get your suggestion right away. Hopefully you're a winner. Remember, later tonight, we've got a wild dance set offered by a great local band, The Classics. So they'll be rolling in. They're ready. Look, they're on the edge of their seats, ready to go. So the Classics are ready for action. So that's great news. Don't get lost. Do not get lost. Our next Hall of Fame inductee, I'd like to introduce Jack Knoppinger, class of 1964. Roll the videotape.
I met several fellows who were in my class that I see every year at homecoming. They're good guys. We enjoy a lot of memories from back in the day and what have you. And it's just rekindled my interest in Calvert Hall and helping the young men prepare for themselves for their future.
This guy named Jack Knoppinger came in and he said, look, I'm class of 64 and I'm very interested in funding a scholarship for tuition assistance. Before that day was over, Jack funded 5 or 6 young men who may have not been able to come back to school the next semester. That gives you a sense, I think, of who Jack Knoppinger is, and that was the first day I met him.
I walked down the hall several years ago, and I was kind of taken by the pictures and the people that are in the Hall of Fame. And at that point, I felt it would really be neat to someday be up there with these guys. And many of them I know from business, I know from family connections, I know from going to school at Calvert Hall. And to me, it's truly an honor to be considered with them in the same group.
It's marvelous to look at the heart of gold that this man has, not just for Calvert Hall, but just in general. And he does good deeds every day of his life, and we are blessed to have him here at Calvert Hall. He actually has turned now into one of the most generous donors in the history of the school in a very short period of time.
I'd like to thank the staff and the administration and the people here that I've worked with, because I've worked very closely with a lot of people in the school. Of course, Brother John, the president, I work closely with him, Joe Baker, Gene Gould, all of the people in the advancement office. They've just all been wonderful to work with. A lot of my involvement with the school involves my wife, Lucy, and it's an honor to have her involved as well with everything we do here.
Shadow dancing, baby, you do it right. Give me more, drive me across the floor. Shadow dancing, all this and nothing more. And in this world of people, there's only you and I. There ain't nothing come between us in the end. I hold you when you ain't even mine. Only you can see me through. I leave it up to you.
I hope you're enjoying your meal. Our artists are continuing to work away. This is like the Today Show, so I got to give you some hints of what's coming up. So coming up later, we're going to have an interview with Chuck Stembler for an update on Calvert Hall 2021. Our next Hall of Fame inductee, Dan White, class of 1965. Roll the videotape.
I loved Calvert Hall, always did. Many of the friends I made then are still my friends today. It was a really good all-around experience for me.
We know each other since grade school, high school, college. Dan was in my wedding, I was in Dan's wedding. My career at Whiting-Turner was not as lengthy as Dan's, but again, we were together there. Dan's been like another brother.
President of Whiting-Turner for a long time was a guy named Willard Hackerman, who had a dramatic impact on my life. And he used to say, you can't give anything away. He said, no matter how you try, it always comes back to you. And I always found that no matter what I was doing, trying to help here or other places, I always got back more than I gave. So it's just been a good relationship.
I think Dan exemplifies the values at Calvert Hall: intellect, integrity, community. He's always been willing to give his time and efforts to his family, his friends, and community causes. He's volunteered over his life very many different nonprofit organizations. All the while, he's been supporting and promoting Calvert Hall. I think the values he learned here have stayed with him throughout his life.
I'm extremely humbled to be recognized among the peers that are in that hallway there is humbling and intimidating, frankly. Very, very flattering. Certainly don't feel like I've done anything significant, but it certainly gives me true joy to think about the school and how well it's doing and the opportunity to give back. Certainly like to thank my parents for paying the other half of my tuition and Sister Ethelrita for working with me so well. All the brothers and the faculty, certainly. And I'd like to thank Brother John for his leadership and friendship.
Our artists continue to get after it. This time we're going to go over and talk to Andrew Villegas. Andrew, you're a sophomore?
Yes, I am.
All right, guys, I'll come back for the promo in a second. But Andrew, tell us a little about what you think about art.
Well, I just love doing art. Just the act of creating things out of seemingly nothing. It's just always so fun.
Do you have a favorite artist, or how do you get inspiration for what you do?
Well, typically I just look at everything, whether it's inside my house or just when I'm sitting out in my lawn. I'm just looking everywhere for inspiration.
And the work you're doing tonight, it's a little futuristic. What is it?
Oh, it's a tribute piece to one of my favorite bands, Daft Punk.
Tell us a little about Daft Punk, maybe.
They're an electronic duo.
Okay.
They like to remix older songs and turn them into new songs.
They got the masks, the helmets, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me on the weekends. All right, thanks. I appreciate that. All right, guys, before we leave, right, show us where we are right now, right? Hold your stuff up. Let's get a close sweep of that, see if we get some close-ups from our production team. Great stuff, great stuff. Our next Hall of Fame inductee, Ken Bowl, class of 1972.
Ken is a very intense guy, great guy, don't get me wrong. Has done a lot for the community, a lot for the school, a lot for other schools. Graduate of Loyola University, sits on their board, helps a lot of people. He's a good guy, very upstanding and very commendable.
My brother and I growing up were fortunate. We weren't from a wealthy family. My mother worked, my father worked multiple jobs, and money was tight. I mean, it was tight. So, I know coming here, even though the difference in price is quite dramatic from then, but coming to Calvert Hall, that was tough for them to send both of us here. And so I really felt strongly that I wanted to help other kids who could use some extra money to let them do the kinds of things that they want to do. And in the inner cities, that's where a lot of my money goes, is to have these inner city kids have a shot at getting a really good education, not having to worry about debt and those kinds of family issues.
Ken is, after Calvert Hall, and even in Calvert Hall, has come up with a great relationship, or has a great relationship with Brother Gregory.
He really was a great advisor to me in school. We became friends, still are friends. He was in Guatemala for 16 or 17 years, I think. And we sent him computers from work and vehicles and all kinds of things to try and help the efforts with him teaching in the Guatemala area.
Very strong loyalty there. And Brother Greg has been very important in his life.
If in some way my story, what I've done, can help influence even one person to look at themselves and say, I could do more, or I could do something, then to me, that's what it's all about. Certainly I want to thank my parents again. What they went through to put my brother and I through school was tremendous, and I can't thank them enough. And hopefully our successes, both academically and professionally, was a way of saying thank you to them. I want to thank Brother Gregory for when I was here. It was fantastic. And actually, I want to thank all the brothers. The brothers and the faculty, the lay faculty, administration were fabulous. I mean, I really think this was a very formative stage of my life. It really made a difference in my life. I will always remember my time here.
I can feel the magic floating in the air. Being with you gets me that way. I watch the sunlight dance across your face, and I've never been this swept away. And I can feel you breathe, it's washing over me. And suddenly I'm melting into you. There's
Don't be shy. Keep those trivia answers. That is not 1960 on trivia number 3, but good try, right? Get those answers in and keep them coming in. Now, if you know a little bit about the Christian Brothers, you know there's a lot of precepts that LaSalle gave that are really the key to education around the world. And one of the best precepts that I like to talk about all the time is schools of good order. That's how you run a good school. It starts with good order. And I tell you what, since the pandemic hit last March through now, right, we've had to put a lot of order in place to make this work. And the person leading that is Chuck Stembler, an amazing team of people that work with him. That's Jeff Blake, Assistant Principal for Academics, Mark Parisi in Activities, Chris Mitchell, Dean of Students, Director of Public Safety, right? And Kathy Dalrymple, our school nurse, done a great job. So this week I had a chance to sit down with Chuck and talk a little bit about Calvert Hall 2021 and what we're doing in this pandemic times. Roll the video, please. Chuck, thanks for joining me. Let's talk a little bit about Calvert Hall, and let's talk about the pandemic. Last March 12th, everything shuts down. Calvert Hall pumps the brakes, and then we come back full steam ahead. So we want to talk about what's been going on since then and what we've been doing over the last year plus as we work hard for the education of the young men here at the Hall. Talk about academically. What's been going on?
Absolutely. And not surprisingly, our teachers were just awesome. I mean, we literally took a 2-day pause in March, and then we came back, full steam in a hybrid. And I think one of the things that the teachers have learned and figured out how to do is the notion of teaching in 2 different modalities. Because you have to teach the students that are in front of you, but we also knew when we created the system in March and over the summer that we needed to allow for some students to be all virtual because of comorbidities in the household or concerns, different health concerns. So it is a lot different when you have to teach one group that's right in front of you, and then through Microsoft Teams, you have to teach another group. But the teachers have been really sensational about that. They've really figured it out, and whether sometimes that's using the technology, like a sound bar in the classroom or the different cameras, but it's also about learning how to make the connections. At a LaSallian school, we really talk about the key to academic success is the notion of being in relationship with students. Well, that's a lot more difficult when you're on a screen with 10 guys and trying to engage them in the classroom. But they've been fantastic at that. And I think that part of it also then is some of the structural things that we've done. So, for example, on our 0 day, we have faculty office hours, so guys can just team in individually and meet with teachers. The Academic Resource Center is still present. Some guys do it virtually. And we've done with the Math Resource Center, we have folks who will meet in the evenings with students to go over math. So we've tried to keep some of the same things about Calvert Hall, but just do it in a little bit different way, and in some cases do it virtually.
That's great. So much of the Calvert Hall experience occurs outside the classroom, extracurricular, athletics. What's been going on in that direction?
Right, and really our same methodology. We've had to switch to do some things virtual. We know it's really important for guys to be involved in activities and athletics. So where we could, we've done some virtual things. So for example, our speech and debate team just was at a tournament in Atlanta, but they were doing it virtually in our commons. Mock trial team, Model UN were virtual. So we've had an attempt to do that, but then we also had some activities that would actually meet here, but just in a different venue to space out more, like robotics. They've still been meeting, but they've been doing it in the activity center, so they space out a little bit more.
Calvert Hall is so much about traditions, and they mean so much that they're remembered so much by the students years later. What's going on with traditions?
Joe, yeah, we really do believe that ceremonies mark important occasions, just in society, but also in the Calvert Hall experience. So we really thought that those traditions were important to keep. And again, we just did it in a little different way. So for example, we did the beginning to welcome our freshmen. When we did the sophomore tie-in, we usually do it in the evenings. In this case, we did it in the mornings and we streamed it. We did the same thing with the junior ring ceremony. Last week, we did the senior 100 nights dinner. Well, we couldn't do a dinner for 1,000 people, but instead we rented the Cinemark movie theater and we did the 100 nights senior video that the parents do. And then we did the pinning ceremony in 10 different movie theaters.
175 years. We're also proud of all the history of Calvert Hall, the legacy. But we're also proud of the fact that Calvert Hall is ever changing. So how's Calvert Hall 2021 different than Calvert Hall 1976, Calvert Hall 1983, Calvert Hall 1948?
Right. And one of the things I like to say about that is that in some ways we are the same Calvert Hall that we were 20 years ago and 30 and 40 years ago. Tradition's still really important. It's the brotherhood. It's the community. It is the relationship among your fellow students and with teachers. So there's a lot of the same things at Calvert Hall, but yet we're a much different Calvert Hall, whether that be different programs that we have, like the Brother Tom Miller Honors Program, a Leadership Institute, an Academic Support Program, a new engineering program. So I think what we've done is we've kept some of the important values to stay true to who we are, but yet we meet the needs of the current student.
That's great. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Introducing Hall of Fame inductee Francis Smythe, class of 78. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Let's go to the videotape.
When I went to my mom for high school, I said, Mom, I want to go to St. Joe because my father was a track star at St. Joe. And she said, that's really nice, son. You can, I'll drive you to Calvert Hall or you can run to St. Joe. And so my choice was made.
Francis is a guy that is as unique as anyone I know. He has confidence beyond, anyone I know, and but also has an amazing humility. The other thing is he's an amazing leader, whether he's doing it in the nonprofit world, but also in business. He has people that have worked for him for decades, that have followed him between companies and are incredibly loyal because he's a great leader.
I think it's important to give back because God's given us all certain gifts. And gifts are meant to be shared, and together is where we'll find harmony and happiness and success moving forward. And for me, it fills my heart to give.
I would put Francis among the most accomplished of any Calvert Hall graduates in terms of what he's accomplished professionally, certainly what he's accomplished as a community leader. Francis is truly the driver of GB Charities, which has raised millions of dollars and given away millions of dollars to children to support their Catholic education. Also, as just a person, he's a person that people are attracted to him, they like him, and of course he's a great father, has 3 wonderful sons. But he was just an average lacrosse player. I want everyone to know that, average at best.
There's probably 3 people that deserve great thanks, and naturally 2 of them are my parents. My mom for the hard style of decision-making that she put into us and the work ethic that she gave to us. My dad for the curiosity and the entrepreneurial spirit that he had, that he shared with us, that many of us have followed that course. But really the person that I have to thank the most is my wife, honestly, because in our married life, she has been the pillar of strength and light and guidance for me, because she's my sounding board when I get into tough situations or get into just decision situations, and we make those decisions together.
What an amazing group that we're inducting this year into the Hall of Fame. Several years ago, when we were discussing the Hall of Fame, we realized the number of people we have that have been associated with Calvert Hall over the years and made tremendous commitments to us in so many ways, but weren't graduates. So at that time, we devised the President's Medal. At our last gala, we awarded the very first President's Medal, and that was to Senator and Janet Kelly, longtime supporters in so many ways of Calvert Hall. This year's recipient is the same. He's not a graduate, although he is a graduate of a LaSallian school. And I have to say, for me personally, he was tremendous support for me when I came to Calvert Hall because of his brilliance and understanding of finances and school finances, and I got quite the education. So now, to receive the President's Medal, Joe Croteau. As we look at this medal, the President's Medal, what is it that we're looking for in somebody who's not an alum that has done for Calvert Hall? And one of the things that people always say is time, treasure, talent. Well, we've gotten all 3 of those from Joe in abundance. He's been amazing in all of those areas, and he brings with him that understanding and deep concern for our mission. Joe is from Memphis. He went to Christian Brothers High School in Memphis, then later Christian Brothers College. And his professional career brought him to Baltimore. And I can't begin to tell you the contributions he has made just as his time on the board.
I think if I was looking back and wanted people to remember something, it would be the work I did on the Finance Committee. Calvert Hall had a significant amount of debt, and we converted that to a very fine 20-year fixed-rate mortgage. That saved the school over $2 million. But I think beyond that, I would hope that people would remember some of the leadership things. Just a voice at the table, a voice in decisions.
He's a good person. I mean, a good, caring, loving person who makes a difference wherever he goes. He has that Lasallian spirit.
It's always nice to be recognized for what you've done. I think more importantly, I want it to be a sign for other people to be involved. It works. Give back. Give your time and talents. People will find you, and they will get you involved. So for me, it's not about my recognition. It's about being part of something that others should be part of. I would like to thank my parents, my wife of 39 years, my kids, wonderful, my grandkids, and Brother John Kane personally for recognizing me with this award.
Joe, thank you so much. And thank you to your family for loaning you to us all these years, and we appreciate what you've done.
All right, folks, thanks so much for all enjoying all those videos. They were great. Our inductees, our honorees, great. You're probably sitting at home going, hey, is it wrapping up? No. Open your windows, move the furniture, get the sofa out of the way, head out to the decks in a couple of minutes, right? The dance hour is about to begin featuring the classics. We're going to great pan over to the classics. Classics Act Bandy. Look at them. They're amazing. Unbelievable. They got a great set lined up for us. All right, they're going to be here in just a couple minutes, so don't get lost. Get ready. Don't get lost. Get ready. All right, folks, we're going to run some trivia winners, I think, for the contest. You should be getting those across your screens. Thanks to all our trivia participants. We've got our artists up here. They've still got some work to do. They want to stay until they're finished. Brother says they got to go home, right? But they've done a great job. Over here, I'm going to talk a little bit to Steve Chris. Steve's a senior. Steve, talk a little about what you're working on.
So I'm working on a tribute to the Turkey Bowl. It's actually the Turkey Bowl trophy with the 175 logo down the side. And it's just a little close-up view of the Turk trophy.
And Steve, as a senior, what are you thinking about schools next year? Where are you going?
I'm going south, probably to Clemson or South Carolina to major in marketing. And I hope to work with their football programs down there.
Oh, it's awesome. Great, good football programs. You have an interest in graphic design.
Yes, sir.
Well, tell us a little about that interest.
It started a lot more recently after my encounter with Lamar. I got much more passionate about art. And it's much easier, much quicker to produce artwork for colleges. That's something I have to get involved in college, and hopefully it works out.
Tell us a little bit about your encounter with Lamar.
So I actually talked to him his rookie year and his sophomore year. So I emailed him the night before training camp, and I got to meet him on the field. He signed my picture and posted on his story.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
Viral.
Yes, sir.
All right, good stuff. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Thanks, every one of you. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Manuel. Thanks, Sebastian, for your work. Good job. Well done. Folks, I have a couple thanks ourselves. I'd like to thank the team that put this together. Calvert Hall is very fortunate to have a great team. Our team here in the house, led by Nicole Rogalski, our producer, it's usually a one-year job. It's been like a 2.5-year gala, right? So it's a massive amount of work. She's done a great job. Danielle Halatke, who does our Director of Marketing and Communications, gets all those emails out to you, gets all the things, all the pictures up and all that stuff. She's done a great job. And then our vendor partners are unbelievable. They bring a lot of creativity, a ton of creativity to the table. Rouge Catering, Freedom Digital, Creative Liquid, Revolution, Log Cabin, Key Brewing. So it's great, great stuff. And we thank them. We thank everybody that made this come together in such a great way, and thank you for being here. The great thing about Calvert Hall, in my opinion, is we've all had different experiences, and yet we've all had the same experience. What I like to talk about is the overlapping of the generations. I just find that's where it's not just about my classmates having a good time and knowing each other. It's about the guys I know from the classes of the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, and the way we mingle easily, like in the Zoom rooms. We had a great experience a couple years ago when we were in Sarasota. The toughest part of my job, brother and I say it all the time. They make us go to Florida. They make us go to World Games. It's the toughest part of our job. So we're in Sarasota. We're in a restaurant after the game. We're sitting around, and we realize we have grads from 7 different decades in the room. So what? We stop. I'm an advancement. Photo op. We run out and get a photo op. 7 different decades, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 00, 0, and 10. And amongst those guys, we have Jim Henneman, class of 53, writes about the Orioles, and Alex Murphy, who was in the Orioles organization, class of 13. And when you saw those two guys sitting together like classmates, class of 53 and a class of 13, that was amazing. And that's what Calvert Hall is. So it's a great community. And thank you for coming together at Community Night with us. Now, after a small TV station identification, we'll be back. It'll be loud. It'll be the classics.